close out the regular season. Last night's rainout means a split doubleheader today and tonight. Gio Gonzalez and Noah Syndergaard in Game 1 on Masson. They are celebrating a division title in New York, at least in Flushing, for the first time in 9 years. And we've got some fans who just cannot get enough of baseball. Glad they're with us. Glad you're with us. We're finally going to get this final weekend going as the Nats take on the Mets. Too bad no playoff implications for the Nationals in this series. And we used to talk about first half of the season how the Nats dominated in this ballpark for a couple of years. That all changed at the end of July.
Yeah, they came in here needing some wins. They were up 3 games, and you were thinking after the Mets lost a tough game to the Padres in walk-off fashion, an extra inning game, that they had him right where they wanted. Remember the Wilmer Flores trade? He was traded, he wasn't traded, he cried. Then he comes up with the biggest hit of the year for the Mets. They swept the Nationals in a place where they've had a lot of success. And then when we go to Nats Park, the same thing happens again.
Yeah, Cespedes, a key home run that helped them to a sweep there. So the Mets beat the Nats 6 times in a row. Season series 10-6 New York. So through July 30th, the Nats were up by 3 when they got here. And now look at the difference. It's an 11-game difference since then with just 2 days left in the regular season. There are things to play for, most notably on the individual basis. The great season of Bryce Harper. The Nats want him desperately to win that MVP.
Win the MVP, get 3 more RBIs, have 100 on the year, and it's a big series for Bryce Harper. He'll probably play both games of the doubleheader today, but when you look at his campaign and what he's done, I think awards are won in the month of September. You're looking at his opening day home run, all the highlights throughout the season, but what has he done lately? Bryce Harper, 337, 10 home runs in the month of September.
Cold. At least the rain has stopped for this afternoon, and we hope to get a couple in tonight so the Nats and Mets can wrap things up tomorrow afternoon. Bryce Harper, key highlights this season. He would go deep on opening day, way out of there against Bartolo Colon over the scoreboard, and then in the month of May, he would start to really heat it up.
Yeah, 6 home runs in 3 games, just absolutely locked in, hitting the ball wherever it's pitched. You try him in, he'll pull it, throw it down the middle, go straight away center field. That's the walk-off homer against the Braves. talk about the month of September and what he's done. 337 average, 31 for 92, 7 doubles, 10 home runs, 20 RBI, 26 walks, and an MVP. And if he doesn't get it, folks, something's wrong. And don't forget the hair flip. How could you forget the hair flip? That's MVP, too.
Arenado has Bryce by 1 on the home run ledger. He leads the world in RBIs with 130, and Paul Goldschmidt having a great season for a third-place ball club out in Arizona. So Bryce is ready for this one, and so with more on him is Dan Kolko.
Bob, I pulled a couple players to kind of get their feel of whether they think Bryce Harper is the National League MVP this year. I asked Jason Worth, and he said if we win the division, it's an absolute no-brainer. Bryce is the MVP. Has he had an MVP season? Yes. Will he be the MVP? Who knows? Jason said, I don't always agree with the people who vote on these types of awards. The Baseball Writers Association of America, they sometimes have a different opinion than I do. And I popped over to the Mets side, and I asked Tyler Clippard, former National, whose teammate, Yoenis Cespedes, got a little bit of talk for potential New York NL MVP award a couple weeks ago. I asked Clip open-ended. I said, who do you think wins the MVP? He said, I think it's Bryce. He said the progression he's made this year in terms of his strike zone discipline is amazing. And Clip said, I know the average, the home runs has been talked about a lot. He was most impressed with the on-base percentage, the walks. He said Bryce went from a very good player to an elite next-level player very, very quickly. I think he's the MVP.
We all think so as well. So the Nats against the Mets, and Gio's been good against New York. 9-4 career with a 2.83 ERA, but how about the last 4 times out? 3-0, 1.09. Nats, Mets, long day of baseball and a long evening ahead. Settle in. We're glad you're with us all day Saturday. Brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you, and by The Walk. It's a true story, in theaters October.
It's a Bryce Harper story.
Starring Bryce Harper and Joey Votto. The Walk. And hopefully the MVP starring Bryce alone. 50 multi-hit games on the year coming into this one. Not been a real productive week for Bryce, but he is 3 for 7 career against Noah Syndergaard. Nats not going to see Syndergaard that often by the time this season ends. It is chilly here. Winds coming straight in from center, so it's going to be 53 degrees at game time. Crowd making a lot of noise. They just came home from Philadelphia where they were swept. But look at that wind blowing, and the Mets, of course, are champions, and they are savoring that here in New York City. Here's the lineup. 8th in the league in hitting, 3rd in runs, 4th in home runs. Anthony Rendon loves it here. 333, 13 extra base hits, 16 runs driven in. Matt Dendecker, the former Met, is in the lineup against the right-hander Syndergaard, playing right field today. And the 23-year-old rookie takes the mound, trying to get a double-digit win season. He's 9-7.
Received the win last start on the 25th, 12-5 against the Reds at Cincinnati. 7 2/3 innings, gave up 2 runs on 5 hits, only struck out 11 Reds, walked nobody, 104 pitches, 74 of those for strikes. So the fastball from Noah Syndergaard is the pitch, and it's averaged 97 miles an hour this season. So the defense for the Mets behind Syndergaard: Cespedes, Lagares, Kadair, the outfield, Tejada right, left side, Murphy, Duda, right side, and Travis d'Arnaud doing the catching. There's the captain.
Yeah, David Wright has come back from injury and hit .301 in 46 games total now this year for the Mets. Early game notes for you. Gio, since the beginning of 2012, 27 road wins, 4th most in the National League, and at Citi Field he's won 6 out of 7. And remember, almost pitched a no-hitter here a couple of years ago. Nats lead the series by 7 games since their birth in '05. And the Mets, well, 3 here, 3 in D.C. since the end of July. Terry Collins had never been to the postseason. He's about to go for the first time.
Well, if he doesn't win Manager of the Year in the National League, there's a problem. I know you could talk about Joe Madden and what he's done in Chicago, but the fact that he kept this team right where they needed to be to make moves at the trade deadline, to me, is the best job of managing in baseball this year. Because you remember before they had Cespedes and Kelly Johnson and Uribe, they were struggling. They were fight you. They'll claw and scrap with you just to stay around 500. And he kept them in position to make all those deals for them to win a National League East championship. In my mind, he's the Manager of the Year.
Agreed.
And it's cold.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of overhang here, so the breeze has eased up for us a little bit, but it is still whipping in the ballpark.
Well, grab a blanket, kick back, spend the day with Bob, Dan, and I. You only got 2 more left. What else you got to do? At
home, you got a blanket. Here we've got a couple of space heaters, literally keeping us alive.
2 days, and you can pick your own friends.
Anthony Rendon at 270, and here we go. First pitch hacking. A couple of minutes late. 1-12. Home plate umpire today, 20-year veteran Phil Cuzzy. Sean Barber, Jim Wolf, and the crew chief Jerry Davis. There he is over at third, 34th year in the big leagues. He's wrapping up. Rendon 300 over his last 37 games, hitting safely in 30 of those. Right in there at the knees.
How huge would it today been with a doubleheader if these games meant something? The strategy involved from a managerial standpoint and who you use in the games out of the pen, if these two meant something, would have meant something.
It's a great thought. Sorry it didn't happen.
Kind of a buzzkill thought, but yeah, whatever.
Breaking ball for the strikeout to start the game. Syndergaard on the year, 157 strikeouts, 30 walks in 143 innings. Escobar, 28 ball games, hitting .370, in and out of the lineup lately, feeling well enough to be in there today with that .318 batting average, and the on-base percentage as well that we sometimes overlook. That's .378, top 7 in the National League. So the Dodgers won last night. They have 90 wins. The Mets have to win this game to get back even with them, and then take their chances against the Nats tonight as the Dodgers again host the Padres.
I do not have that hat.
Mr. Met hats.
I do, yeah. Looks good on you.
And if the Mets end up tied with the Dodgers at the end of tomorrow. They have the tiebreaker, having won the season series. Escobar sharply hit. 2 hops. Tejada 2 down. Batting race, home run race right now. Bryce by 2 points over D. Gordon. Miami is at Philadelphia for the weekend. Nolan Arenado +1 on the home run side.
The one thing you're hoping that Bryce does in these last 3 games is what he's done all year, and not try to do too much to win a batting title, win a home run title, win an MVP. Just do what you do. Easy to say up here.
Yeah.
Not easy to do down there. But just stay with your plan. If they're going to walk you, take your walks. If they're going to pitch to you, let it rip.
Yeah, Cespedes' numbers have kind of leveled off now, but still having a fantastic season. 2-0 to Harper, and Bryce takes a strike.
Syndergaard just sitting at 98. Hair flowing in the wind.
Everything's blowing in the wind right now.
Thor throwing 100. This one only 97, took a little off.
Yeah, right above the bat. Bryce 3 for 7 career against him. Crowd making noise for a 1-2-3 inning. That's what they get. Syndergaard 2 strikeouts. Gio Gonzalez now goes to work against the hot Mets. .830, 18 over, and against the East, they are 19 games over 500. Lucas Duda has been in the middle of everything. He had that big home run against Joe Ross earlier season against the Nats. 15 hits, 3 homers, 8 RBIs, 4 doubles. Lucas Duda 10th in the league in home runs with 27. And the Mets are hitting .246, but they haven't done much with Gio the last few years.
A fastball, curveball change. You don't know by now, and no decision. His last start on the 27th against the Phillies. Gave up 2 runs on 6 hits over 5 innings against the Phils. Struck out 3, walked 2 through 89 pitches his last start.
Juan Lagares goes with the 90 the other way, and Anthony Rendon throws him out.
check out the defense for the Nats in Game 1 of the split doubleheader. Game 2 will start at 7 o'clock. Worth, Harper, Dendecker, the outfield. Desmond Escobar, left side of the infield. Rendon Robinson, right side. And Jose Lobaton behind the plate.
David Wright
back in there today.
Yeah, sleeves on. Everybody bundled up out there. You know, the thing about the rain, I mean, it rained here for a day and a half to 2 days, but it was never a downpour, just that steady drizzle when you're on the edge of a big storm out at sea. And so the field's in really good shape here.
That's a better hat.
Didn't look too great when we looked out our windows for the first time in Manhattan this morning, but well enough to get things going, and hopefully baseball all day and into the evening.
Saw a lot of umbrellas folding up on 52nd yesterday. Just walking around town. It got windy in the afternoon. So a little part of the hurricane, a little mini hurricane.
David Wright pulling off that one as Gio gets a strike and evens things up 2-2. Wright, 44 hits, just 136 at bats. But this is almost like with them getting Cespedes, then adding another new player to their lineup in David Wright. Banged up, able to come back, finish the season, and be available for some postseason action.
Yeah, Murphy started swinging it. He was slumping for a long time. Kadire got healthy. Travis d'Arnaud got healthy, and boom. You put a guy like Juan Uribe in your dugout, a guy that's good in the clubhouse and knows how to win in the postseason. Kelly Johnson. I mean, you guys just got better all the way around. Bullpen, everything.
And you could look at this Mets offense and determine that one of the things that happened was Cespedes came in, and all of a sudden those other guys don't have all the pressure on them to hit homers or doubles or whatever, complimentary type hitters, and they've surrounded him beautifully. That's a strike call. Gio inside edge under the hands of David Wright.
You see where Lobaton's setting up a good miss because he wanted that away. It looked like David Wright was looking away, but Gio threw it across to the other side of the plate, and it locked the Mets third baseman up.
Daniel Murphy 9 for 26 career against Gio, so a pretty good lefty-lefty matchup here. Jammed him, and David Wright, rather Daniel Murphy hitting after David Wright, fights it off, adds to his .284 batting average. So that's his 10th career hit against Gio. That brings in you know who. Cespedes, if you combine his numbers this year, 35 homers, 105 batted in. But he's driven in 44 here in only 54 games.
Well, the word was that he had reverse splits. And what does that mean? That he hit righties better than lefties. But he's kind of changed that as a Met. Hitting .273 in the Mets uni against left-handers, but just .219 overall this year against lefties. So he's picked up those numbers significantly. Good low ball hitter. Loves the ball down and in.
Impressive numbers. Yeah, higher average in Detroit. One for two career with a walk against Gio. Gio trying to become a 12-game winner. To the left side, Desmond to his right, and a quick flip over to Rendon. No problem for either pitcher in a scoreless first inning.
Off for the Nats, and that's top of the second. Jason's been around baseball his entire life. His grandfather, his stepfather, his uncle all played in the major leagues. And I asked Jason the other day what he loves most about baseball. He said that the main thing for him is just being around the guys. The joy of coming to the ballpark every day as a big league ball player, being around your big league teammates, hanging out on the buses and the charters, being a big leaguer. He said as a kid, you're promised that if you work hard enough and you get lucky, you'll be a big leaguer. He says the reality lives up to that dream and more. He said it's like no other workplace in the world being a big league ball player.
Yeah, they say relish and treasure every day you have that uniform on at this level. And when you're talking cars, you're talking Coons, thanks to Dan with our Coons.com sideline report.
At any level, for that matter. Play till they rip the uni off your back and enjoy every minute of it, because it goes by in the blink of an eye. And people tell you that while you're playing, and you're like, yeah, whatever. Next thing you know, you're wearing makeup.
Glenn Robinson waited forever to get his shot. Worth will bounce one past the mound up the middle. Slow roller. Tejada gets him 4 straight to start the game for Noah Syndergaard. Clint, opposite field in Atlanta Thursday.
His 9th of the year, low liner in the drizzle in Atlanta. I think it was a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. I'm not sure. And Jason Worth thought it was so sick, as you could hear on the replay.
Got the Nats on the board. Solo shot in the 2nd inning. They went on to add a couple in the 8th and won that getaway game in Atlanta 3-0. Nats got into New York about 3 a.m. on Friday, to the hotel about 3 a.m. and then got an unexpected, well, some of the guys who had already been at the ballpark, it was an unexpected day off. And that was Lagares out there grabbing that one from Clint Robinson's bat, 2 outs. Part of the ball club was already here. The later bus that brings us and some of the guys who slept in a bit was just on about 5 minutes from leaving Manhattan, coming across the Triborough Bridge when they turned the bus around and headed back to the hotel about 4 o'clock yesterday.
Yeah, the lazy guy bus whipped a U-turn.
That's us. Here's Ian Desmond. Syndergaard pumping strikes here. 13 pitches, 9 strikes first inning. And now trying to make Ian Desmond his 6th victim in a row. Ian sits safely 7 of his last 9 and 2 for 4 career against Syndergaard. Former Met Matt Dendecker. He rolls that breaking ball to the outside edge.
A good frame by d'Arnaud to hold that ball right on the corner of the plate. If he's throwing his curveball at 81 and his fastball at 99, it's going to be tough for anybody.
Desmond late for 97. 6 in a row, 3 on strikes. No score early, game 1. The 20th Mets manager ever. By the way, Virginia guy, not a native, but living there. And the Mets, 17 over since the 31st of July when they made their moves off the field, and then they made their move on the field. Only the Cubs in our league better. Brought to you by Jeep. Michael Kadire, another guy who's back and healthy again. Hitting .263. 6 for 16 career against Gio with a home run. Nats lefty had a good first inning. 15 pitches, 11 strikes. Harmless single given up, 1 strikeout.
Kadire hitting .313 with 6 doubles, 2 homers, 11 RBI in the 33 games since being activated from the disabled list on August 10th. So he has contributed big time here for the Mets down the stretch.
2-2 off speed, and you could tell by Kadire's reaction he was just locked up. Mercedes-Benz will track strikeout number 2.
Watch the break on this curveball. And I was talking to Gio before the game today. I said, with that wind, you're really going to have to start your curveball away to righties. He said, yeah, I'm just going to start it in the first base dugout and let it blow back. That one was almost in the first base dugout. Came back for a strike. What a curve.
Lucas Duda is next. Just missing again, 2-0. Duda, 27 home runs, top 10 in the league, 73 batted in. He went 30 and 92 last year, and this ball in the air out to left center. Bryce toward the gap with the wind moving it around, 2 down.
Well, we could do it here today, but we're going to do it on December 12th and 13th at the Walter E. Washington Convention Center. The Winterfest. Yeah, it's cold here in New York. It's going to be colder on December 12th and 13th. But you can warm up with your favorite player. You can test your skills at simulated baseball experiences, or you take a picture with Santa, or maybe those people. That'd be fun. Visit nationals.com/winterfest to get your tickets right now.
Travis d'Arnaud, the catcher. He drills that ball out to center. Harper can only watch it. It is in the park, hitting about 20 feet to the left to the 408 mark. 2-out double, and he smacked that one.
He's looking at the replay on the scoreboard right now, wondering how this ball didn't get out of here. And Travis d'Arnaud, a little guy, but he's got some pop. 12 home runs on the year, and this one just misses. Being number 13 off the top of the wall, he'll settle for a 2-out double.
Here's Ruben Tejada, first base open, number 8 hitter. If that different weekend we were dreaming about was taking place, there's probably no way you would pitch to him right here. Syndergaard can swing the bat a bit. Gio's going to go after him, and he just misses with a fastball.
Syndergaard, one of the better hitting pitchers in the National League. .214 average, but he definitely has a clue at the plate. Has a home run this year. Some extra base hits to go with it, so yeah.
One with 2 outs. Tejada, 7 career hits against Gio. So as we mentioned in our opening segment, those last 4 times out, 3-0 with a 1.09 ERA. facing the Mets for the 4th time this year. Then he pitched twice against the Yankees with a couple of wins. (3-1) with 2 outs. First base open. Pop up right side. Robinson in full run mode over there, and so is Lobaton, and it hit off his glove, and he couldn't catch the rebound.
I'm not sure, but I think Jose Lobaton took his eye off the ball to see where the Mets dugout was, and the wind blew it back. Maybe a little peek here at the end. No, it just blew it back, period. He had his eyes on the baseball the whole time. Maybe a little interference from Clint Robinson as far as he felt him there. And if Robinson would have kept his eye on the ball, he could have went Pete Rose right there. Remember when he caught one of these on a tip?
Yeah. You know, on a day like this, that's a tough error to give to a catcher. On deck circle right there, but they gave him one. Only Lobaton's 2nd error of the year. 3-2 pitch. Out of play.
Yeah, full sprint through the on deck circle, fence approaching on a windy day. That's a routine.
Ball twisting back toward the infield. Come on.
It's not an error.
Wow. Somebody in a press box with the windows closed just made that call.
And it woke up Grouchy this morning on top of it. That's an error.
3-2 pitch. This one playable right side for Clint Robinson. Rendon's there as well. Anthony will call him off. And that's it for the Mets in the bottom of the 2nd. They have 2 hits. Nats still looking for theirs.
A.K.A. Noah Syndergaard, or vice versa, with a couple strikeouts. It's 99 to Bryce Harper for strike 3. And Gio Gonzalez playing a little wiffle ball with this curveball we're about to show you. Wow. Coming all around the backside, back door. So no scores. We head to the top of the 3rd here at Windy City Field.
Syndergaard, 23 pitches, 16 strikes. Gio, 32 over 21, chatting with his pitching coach.
Well, if Syndergaard establishes that strike zone, which he has already, no need to wait around. Get on that first fastball, try to catch it out front. Easy to say, not easy to do at 99.
Matt Dendecker, 7 for his last 12. 2 homers, 3 RBIs, 7 runs in 4 ball games. He has faced Syndergaard twice and walked against him both times. Matt broke in with the Mets in 13. He was a 5th rounder 3 years before that out of the University of Florida, where he was a 3-time All-SEC. Same high school in Fort Lauderdale area as Michael A. Taylor. Dendecker to right center. Ball's got some carry on it. Unreachable. That's going to one hop and hit the orange line at the top of the wall. And now Matt Dendecker 8 for his last 13.
Well, there goes the no-hitter. Matt Dendecker style here in New York. So showing his old team what they're missing. He has been absolutely locked in, and he goes double in the gap for the first hit of the day for the Nats. Nice swing. Ball stayed in the ballpark. Good at bat.
Lobatone and Gio Gonzalez, the next two batters. Jose, 1 for 3 career against the Mets right-handed rookie. Got the curly W's on the eye black patches, huh?
Yeah, I like it. I don't think you move the runner here, not with the pitcher on deck. So
right.
Leadoff double in the 7-hole. You're hitting 8th. Drive him in. Wherever, left field, center. This is not a pull the ball to the second baseman on the ground situation for Jose Lobatone.
Good pitch. Heater low in the zone. Evidently Syndergaard got a call.
You know Jose Lobatone's look right there. He's saying, hey, that's 96. It's off the plate. I can't hit that. That's not a strike.
Well, you got two of the best framers of pitches standing in the batter's box there together. Lobatone and d'Arnaud.
And Phil Cuzzy's been known to have a floating zone.
Then he goes breaking ball in the dirt. See who plays the makes the play on the wrapper here. Well, Lucas Duda is going to let it go into right field.
He was going for it. He's going to try and make a backhand play on the bag.
Yeah.
It just got by him. I'm going to score that E3. He's got to make that play. It's big leagues.
Not the first wrapper we'll see today either. 2-2.
For the last.
Lobatone, that's a swing and a miss. Ball to the backstop, and everybody will be safe. Ball got away from Travis d'Arnaud. First and third, nobody out.
Well, unconventional, but it does move the runner. Jose Lobatone, realizing that ball went to the backstop, got a late start, but still hustled and got to first base.
Wild pitch called on that.
Boy, if you can bunt this to third base and Dendecker follows David Wright down, he throws it to first, you walk home. It's the best play in baseball that you never see. And I don't know why people don't do it.
Gio's going to bunt it right over the first base side, and then it goes foul, and d'Arnaud kicks it to make sure it stays foul.
So the play is you bunt it down the third baseline. You make the third baseman field the baseball. As the runner, you follow him down. If he throws across to first, you just walk home because it's right about in this area where he's going to field it. It's undefensible.
Perfect by Gio to at least move the trail runner. Lucas Duda to Daniel Murphy, 3-4. Gio's 10th sacrifice of the year.
The first baseman has to charge on that.
Yeah.
The second baseman covers first. The shortstop covers second because there's a runner on first. So you just simply follow the third baseman down. You bunt it hard to third. And if he turns and looks back at you, you walk back to the base. Its bases loaded. If he throws across to first, you take about 10 steps and you're home. It's a great play that you never see executed at this level.
Here's Rendon. Great chance to put the Nats on top by 1 or 2 here. Syndergaard drops in the curveball. He struck Anthony out looking first time up. '23-year-old right-hander Noah Syndergaard, 6'6", 242. Came from Toronto with 3 others for R.A. Dickey and 2 others. Darno was part of that deal. Rendon, quick swing, fights it off. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Got him. Anthony could not react to the fastball. 97 first time, 98 that time.
That's just a perfect pitch by Noah Syndergaard. Watch this, paint away. A little run back to it as well at 98 miles an hour. Just darting that front corner. Not a whole lot you can do.
It's up to Escobar now. He pulled the ball to short first time up. Escobar doesn't like the call. That's the second time Syndergaard has dropped that curveball out there near the edge.
When you have an umpire that has a reputation already as having a floating strike zone, and you start to have some bad calls, you know, that all that adds up. Escobar knows that because he has a big zone, it's all over the place. You see one outside.
And he gets that one out to short left center. Cespedes is there, and the Nats fail to score after Dendecker was at third base early in the inning.
to 29292 for your chance to win an autographed Nats prize pack. That's inspiration to 29292 for your chance to win. Brought to you by Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield. Live fearless. Maybe the word of the day should have been undefensible, which isn't a word that I just used.
Is it indefensible?
It is, but
okay,
why isn't it undefensible?
I know.
The play is undefensible.
I would hate to have to learn English. This is my second language. And some people do consider me having English as my second language.
You can't defense it. It's undefensible. I just made up a word and I'm sticking to it.
There are so many words that make sense, but they're not words, right? Just like that one. 2-2. Syndergaard this year, 9 for 42 with a homer and 4 RBIs. Gio's curveball way out there, 3-2. Looked like he overthrew the 92 on a full count to the pitcher. Gio walks his first man. And so the first time through the order, the Mets go 2 for 8 with that base on balls.
Gio looking up to the stars in center field as if he can't believe what he just did.
Yeah. Going to bring on a jacket for Syndergaard to run over there. This will take a moment.
Well, you don't see this much anymore. Pitchers wearing jackets to run the bases or hoodies.
Ah.
He's got to put his hood on over the helmet now, right? Or under it. But then you can't see the hair.
Juan Lagares.
As a play-by-play guy right now, how do you know who's on first? Who's running? You can't see his name. I don't know who that is.
That's why some people keep score, so they know.
All right.
I remember when I was a kid, went to a game with my dad in the middle of the summer. I said, Dad, why is the pitcher putting a jacket on? It's 92 degrees. He said, it's to keep his arm warm. I'm like, okay.
Then you said,
it looks kind of weird.
Then you said, but it's 92 degrees. Somebody's
2 balls, 2 strikes. Gio, some long counts here.
Ooh, that does not feel good today, folks.
That was in on the hands.
Doesn't feel good ever, really, but when it's cold, those bumblebees, when you hit one off the handle that goes about 8 feet, oh, don't miss that.
Two-two pitch, and Gio spins that breaking ball, but it stayed outside.
If I had to guess, on a cool, windy day, he's having trouble getting that grip on the curveball. Kind of squirting out of there. The ball will be slick on today's. You really got to, days like today, you really got to blow in your hand and keep that moisture on the baseball.
Got him. 92 up a bit. Lagares couldn't get to it. Gio Gonzalez, 3rd strikeout. Mercedes-Benz will track it.
In to win, up and in, really, just above the belt. And that was close to being a strike, even if he took it.
David Wright, borderline pitch called out on strikes, first time. Still 9 for 17 career against Gio. He hit .311 with 116 RBIs the last time the Mets won the division 9 years ago. That was his 2nd full year in the big leagues. So David has really grinded his way through some not so good team seasons here in New York. What a great reward for him at the age of 32. This chance to be back in the playoffs. high in the air. Left field, Worth to the corner. And just foul. I mean, that had some kind of sound to it. Hang time, unbelievable. And the wind coming in is what kept that from being a home run.
And the wind blowing across is what pushed it foul. And that ball started probably the A of the Delta sign and ended up foul.
Wow.
The wind blowing straight across from right to left, from center field to left field, pushed that ball foul.
And Gio goes changeup down and in on the next pitch. 3-1.
And did you hear the fans here? I mean, Citi Field has turned into New York baseball. I mean, they were into that flight of the ball like I've never heard, and I can't wait for tonight. With Max Scherzer versus Matt Harvey, this place is going to be rocking.
2 walks in the inning. So Gio, who, as we've often commented, almost seems to have this kind of inning every time out. Today it comes earlier than usual in the third, and the timing not great with Murphy and Cespedes the next 2.
That look you saw from Steve McCatty shaking his head was not out to Gio Gonzalez. It was to Phil Cuzzi behind the plate. He thought that was a strike.
Murphy fought off a pitch, in on him, singled to left field first time up. Gio, 2 curveballs and 2 well outside.
When Daniel Murphy made that diving play against the Phillies at first base and blindly flipped to the pitcher covering, I said to myself, it's the Mets time. When you start making plays like that, guy not known for his defense, known more as an offensive player.
Yeah.
One of the best plays you've seen all year from a guy not known for his defense.
And often maligned for his defense here. Gio gets a fastball in there, 2-1.
And that was about a week before Bartolo Colon made the behind-the-back play against the Marlins in Florida. So all those things, I mean, we've seen it here with this ball club for the last 3 years or so. You get that feeling when it's your time.
He's within a pitch of walking the bases loaded with Yoenis Cespedes on deck. Murphy to right. Over is Dendecker with a long run and a high reach. And David Wright had to really get back to first base. He was right behind Syndergaard. Tremendous play by Matt Denda.
He's showing the Mets what they're missing. He hit the double in the gap, so maybe Dendecker knows ball's carrying to right center based on him swinging the bat. But look at the play on the run. In stride, reaching up, full speed, the very top of his glove on the run. What a play by Matt Dendecker. A guy that hasn't really played a whole lot of right field. Just a clean route. Reminded me a lot of Denard Span right there from A to B perfectly.
Boy, that ball was by him when he actually had it in his glove. So here's Cespedes now. Instead of bases loaded or a run in, 2 on, 2 out. It's a great fastball that handcuffed the right-handed hitter.
You ready for your random stat of the day?
Great.
Cespedes has 148 balls in play this year, 100+ miles an hour. That's the most in the big leagues.
Oh my.
So when he hits them, they're hit.
Gio tried to get him to bite on the 0-2 curveball. It's a good pitch. Lobaton had to block it to keep the runners out of scoring position, both of them.
It's a good pitch.
Yeah, that was nowhere near being way inside.
I feel like that changeup off of that pitch down and away might have a chance to get that rollover ground ball to short like he did his first time up. That was a change. He just hung on.
Runners will be on the move here. They both walked. 32 pitches total first 2 innings, 28 here in the third. Syndergaard 90 feet ahead of David Wright.
Stay with it. Who knows? Might blow back from 10 rows back today.
Into the 2 o'clock hour here at Citi Field. Cold day, but it's dry. Finally getting to play some baseball here. After the rain out yesterday, game was called at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 3-2 again.
It should have been called at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday.
No kidding.
All you had to do is look at a radar and say, there's a hurricane coming.
That's going to save some airfare and some subway fare yesterday.
It did take a rocket scientist or a meteorologist to know that one.
Three-two pitch with 2 outs. Bases loaded.
Third walk of the inning for Gio Gonzalez.
Steve McCaddy coming out. Michael Kadire waiting to hit. Joe Cuzzi now doing his internal clock count here before he starts walking toward the mound. And McCaddy, I wondered if Steve might wait for the umpire to have a word or two, but they won't.
That was a pump me up speech right there. That wasn't anything about mechanics. This was go right after him. Your stuff is good today. Trust it. Let's go.
Kadire struck out looking first time. Syndergaard, Wright, and Cespedes. Good running fastball to the outside edge.
Good frame by Lobaton. That might have been below the strike zone. Watch him bring it up.
He did.
Way below the zone.
Boy, if pitch track doesn't like it, you know it's low, huh?
Yep.
Brought that curveball back in. Strike 2 on the foul. Out to short for Ian Desmond. The shovel to Rendon. Long inning for Gio, but the Mets couldn't get a hit. To the middle innings we go, scoreless.
5, and the proverbial right man in the right spot, Yunel Escobar, comes through in a big way. How good is Yunel Escobar? Come on.
Right field, base hit. The Nats are going to lead by 2. Escobar is 5 for 5. And not the only time he did it. A lot of highlights from this season. Things not working out from the one-loss standpoint, but great individual moments to look back on in the 2015 season. Many of them centered around our leadoff hitter, 4th inning. Bryce struck out swinging first time. Syndergaard blew a fastball by him. Busted bat. Bryce is 0 for 2.
Well, if you hit a home run, you get free season tickets. That's what this boils down to. If you purchase or renew your 2016 Nats Plus membership by October 5th, you get a chance to swing for your seats, hit a home run, and you win free season tickets next year. Some rules and restrictions apply. Visit nationals.com/swing for more information. One of the restrictions is you're blindfolded.
That's a tough one.
It's gonna be rough.
Ground ball to short by Jason Worth first time.
That might have got Travis d'Arnaud where there was no padding. Maybe underneath his foot, maybe? Ankle? Your turn to guess.
Young catcher handling some live arms in this rotation.
Where'd it get him? Oh, yeah. Right instep, right ankle.
81. Had a slider look to it. Didn't really break that much. 1-2 to Worth. 0 for 4 career against Syndergaard. Worth 24 RBIs, his last 41 games coming in, 42 total on the year. Had him reaching, did Syndergaard. One hopper, Tejada. 2 down. Nats have hit 174 home runs this year. Every time they do it, it's $250 to the Children's National Health System. Thanks to our Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers. Lexus, the pursuit of perfection. Home runs for children. Clint Robinson, fly ball to center field first time up. Right off the end of the bat, Tejada was playing him right up the middle, and the Nats go on 3 ground balls. 1 hit through 4 against Syndergaard. Saturday smiles here at the ballpark. Big curveball, bottom of the fourth underway. Lucas Duda, the hitter. They say the more you laugh, the warmer you stay.
Well,
so we're looking for that.
Let's just get silly then.
Looks like Jose Lobaton took a shot. Man, rough day for the catchers so far. Darno and Lobaton, two great receivers, playing some ricochets.
Where to get him? Ooh, shoulder, collarbone.
Gio's going to go for a little walk to give his catcher a little more time. One ball, one strike to Lucas Duda. There's the curveball, a beauty. Threw it right at the hitter. It came out over the plate. (0-2-0) Mets, 0-1-1 Nats. And with that other curveball in mind, Lucas Duda felt like he needed to swing at that.
Everybody blowing on their hand.
Hey, Gio, short sleeves today. South Florida guy in frigid New York. And that was nasty. 84 changeup diving under the bat of the left-hander. And for Gio Gonzalez, strikeout number 4.
A little left-on-left change, and Duda seeing it inside, thought it was a fastball, fired off his swing a little bit too early. Not used to seeing a changeup.
Darno, double off the center field wall, first time up. That was with 2 outs in the second. Tejada popped up, and the Mets failed to score, as they did last inning when they loaded the bases on walks.
Good curve.
That third inning cost Gio 35 pitches. So he's up into the 70s now. He's really got the hook going. Nobody can touch it. Strikeout number 5.
I was starting to really get a feel for the curveball. So he threw one for a strike to Darno, and then Darno has to offer at the second curve that breaks out of the zone.
Ruben Tejada pop up to second first time. He knows Gio's eager to end the inning, have the pitcher lead off next inning, so he was ripping on the first one he saw.
Playing fantasy baseball? Not today. MLB.tv serves up real-time highlights and pitch tracking info on your out-of-market fantasy players live or on demand on over 400 devices. Get MLB.tv today.
0-2, fastball up.
There's the curveball in the zone. See if he tries to throw it out of the zone here.
2-2 pitch with 2 outs. Stayed away. This one out into center for Bryce Harper. And over toward the gap. Bryce will fake a souvenir toss, a la Worth in Philadelphia.
Any device. Cox, game on. No scores. We head to the top of the 5th inning. Matt Dendecker's been doing it all here today. He is the offense. The only hit for the Nats. You're looking at the double in the gap. And then watch this play. So hit a double, rob a double. Matt Dendecker doing it all against his former team. Fully outstretched, over his head, on the run, and that play right there by itself keeping this game scoreless.
After Ian Desmond here in the top of the 5th. Well, he's been right on that spot with a breaking ball all day.
Tremendous command of all of his pitches, and he's going to the changeup now. Last inning, got some ground outs with it and hitters count. So not an easy day to hit, but not an easy day to hit against Noah Syndergaard so far.
That time the off-speed pitch had Ian Desmond ahead.
I mean, the arm speed on the changeup, it's just, it looks like his fastball, but 10 miles an hour slower. Same movement, same release point. He's locked in.
Strikeout number 6. Matt Dendecker coming in. Dan has more.
Bob, these games are meaningless for the Nationals in the sense that the team's already been eliminated from postseason contention, but they're not meaningless for some of the players who are trying to achieve, various goals, be it statistical or otherwise. Matt Dendecker told me the other day that he views these last couple games in which he's been playing, a decent amount as an opportunity for him to prove to the Nationals coaches, to their front office, that he can be a good part of this team next season. He'll have spring training in 2016 to try and prove that, but he's using these last few games to try and make a statement as well.
And making one indeed, 8 for his last 13.
And that's why he's playing a fair amount.
Batting average up to 272. So you go back a couple of weeks, and Matt, 10 for 22.
It's one of those things where you say, as a general manager, or even a manager, I like what I'm seeing and I want to see more.
Yeah.
He's performed his way into the lineup here late.
Left-handed batters with pop are not easy to find if you're looking for a fourth outfielder or an effective bat off your bench.
Well, there's all kinds of things he can do for you. You saw the play we just showed you. He could be a defensive replacement. He could be a pinch runner because he has above average speed. He's got power and he's a good hitter. Pretty good arm too. So definitely a fourth outfielder at the least.
Right in there, fastball taken. Syndergaard, strikeout number 7.
I mean, he's got no-hit stuff today. He really does, regardless of the conditions. Upper 90s, curveball, changeup, everything for strikes. It's like watching Steven Strasburg right now. He's every bit as good today.
Here's Lobaton, who struck out. First time got to first base on a wild pitch. First and third, nobody out. But the Nats did not score in the third. Right now he's averaging about 12 to 13 pitches per inning. Third inning took a while because of the double and the strikeout wild pitch. Faced 5 batters. 1-1. Lobaton to Murphy. Nats go in order in the 5th inning. Halfway through the ball game. Syndergaard about to lead off, and he's dealing. Report. Now the career so far of Lucas Giolito through several levels. 51 starts, the innings, the ERA excellent, the strikeouts prolific. Lucas Giolito. Gio to Syndergaard, bottom of the 5th.
Got a nice ovation when he walked to the plate just now.
62 pitches in 5 innings. Up the middle, and Gio's got it. I tell you, the ball popping into the glove was about as loud as it was off the bat.
He framed it too. just like it was a pitch right back at him. Told you Syndergaard can hit. And this one coming right back at Gio Gonzalez. Just a reflex right there. And watch him hold it. He framed it.
To his credit, came out of his delivery in good square fielding position. If you're falling off to one side severely, you don't make that play. It might get you. So here's Lagares, ground ball and a strikeout. Nasty hook.
Well, Gio Gonzalez leads off the 6. If he gets a chance to hit, he might want to repay that favor.
0-2, hammered to short. Nice hop for Ian Desmond. David Wright next.
They're going to have warm beers at this one. Saturday, November 7th, DC Beer Festival, going to be at Nats Park. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. Admission is $40 with a choice of 2 sessions. It includes unlimited tasting from millions of craft breweries. Get your tickets on sale now at nationals.com/beer.
Hot cider sounds pretty good right now.
Yeah. Whatever he's eating looks good too. Everyone trying to stay warm.
Several layers there of orange and blue and pinstripes. And David Wright, he has struck out and he has walked. It was a long third inning. Gio's bounced back since. At 90. That's great at the knees. 1-2. David Wright didn't like it.
Good frame. Got the call. Watch Lobaton again pulling a ball into the strike zone. Boop. Wow. He makes that sound too when he catches it. Just missed right there. I don't know how Jose Lobaton didn't frame that one into the strike zone.
It almost got framed by the gentleman 3 rows back.
I'm telling you, it's a dry day. Balls are slick. Look out. This one just missing high.
Look out.
And look out.
Big curveball. Gio gets a quick 5th. That's good for his rest of the day. He'll lead off in the 6th. No score, Nats and Mets. And FP's worst nightmare on the field momentarily.
I mean, yeah. There's just no words.
One hit, Matt Dendecker. Leadoff double, third inning to right center. That's it for the Washington offense. And here's Gio, who sacrificed later in that inning to get Lobaton to second. He had reached on a strikeout wild pitch.
Oh, there's a great seats for that poodle. Look at that. Just sitting there all with his curly hair with his master. That is beautiful.
Keeping the paws warm. Well done, Master.
Whoever invented dogs in the park was a genius. I love it. If he could boo, he probably would. How about some runs? How about a few hits?
It looks like a stare down right now.
And they say dogs and owners don't look alike.
Big breaking ball. Gio strikes out. Number 8 for Noah Syndergaard. Rendon and Escobar the next two. Maybe Bryce Harper here in the 6th. So the Nats are 1 for 16 in this game. And I guess it's actually 1 for 17 because there was an extra out, sort of, in the 3rd inning when Lobaton struck out and reached on the wild pitch. Rendon got a pitch to work with, hit it to David Wright to his left to make that play. 2 outs. Eight ground ball outs for Syndergaard right now to go with 7 strikeouts. Not a whole lot of action beyond the infield. Escobar the hitter. One to Escobar. Tries to run that fastball back and it stayed outside.
I mean, he's pitching like a guy that tops out at 90 today, just based on his command of all of his pitches. And it's a guy that throws almost 100, putting it wherever he wants.
Yeah, there's the changeup, 3-1. He does not want to walk Escobar to face Bryce Harper with 2 outs. Threw him a strike, and you now late for it. Ouch.
Yep, off the end.
No score, top of the 6th. Then he gets one in on the hands.
You know, guys used to do on cold days, and I don't know if they do it anymore. They have the fancy wrap now, but we used to put pre-wrap, you know, the stuff you put on before you tape your ankles, the stretchy stuff on your bat handle real thick. and then a light layer of tape over it to make some cushion, so if you didn't hit it on the barrel on cold days, you wouldn't get bumblebees in your hands.
Brilliant. Swing and a foul tip. Looked like it ticked the mitt of d'Arnaud on the way by.
Shaking his finger at his own dugout.
Started the day third in the batting race at 318, 1 point ahead of Paul Goldschmidt. Escobar does draw the walk with 2 outs in the 6th.
Here's your chance to maybe get a few RBIs.
Big gap in right center.
Bryce has had trouble catching up to the Syndergaard fastball today. He's sitting dead red 1-0 and just a little bit late.
Way inside, and Bryce drilled on the leg by that pitch.
I think it got him in the knee, and I think it got him pretty flush.
Steve Gober, Matt Williams accompanying Bryce to first.
Let's see if we can see from the side where it got him.
Back knee?
Yeah, hard to tell. This will show better. Yeah, trying to get out of the way, chase the inside of his back knee. And I believe that's the one that's been hurting him all season long. You remember when he threw that throw on the wet grass in right field and it folded up underneath him?
Yeah.
That's the one that's been banged up.
Trainer, manager, satisfied. They trot back to the dugout. By the way, a thought on Matt Williams and some of the things he had to say this morning. Asked in his presser in his office here at Citi Field about reports that he's going to be fired as soon as the season's over. Matt simply said, I don't want to be a distraction to anybody. I'm not going to talk about that. Right now, I want Bryce Harper to be the MVP, and I want us to play as well as we can here in New York this weekend. Classy statements by Matt, who does not want any situation surrounding him to be a distraction to his ball club, at least from anything he might comment on a tweet that might have been sent out that's now a full-blown news report, evidently.
That's the way he was as a teammate. It wasn't about him. It was about the ball club, and he's been that way as a manager.
Two to Earth.
And
did he go? Didn't look like it.
Speaking of that tweet, you better be right when you tweet something like that, is all I know.
And FP, what amused me yesterday was other media outlets, websites, picking up that tweet and calling it breaking news as if it was theirs.
It might be right, it might be wrong, I don't know, but it better be right if you tweet something like that, because that's just irresponsible if you're guessing.
1-2 now. Jason Worth trying to fight through a tough at bat here, a tough hitter's count to get the Nats on top in the 6th inning. Inning over. Worth 0 for 3. Syndergaard strikeout number 9. The Nats have stranded 4. Just 56 strikes. Mets box. First inning, Daniel Murphy single. He's the guy leading off here. Second inning, Travis d'Arnaud double. 3 walks in the 3rd, but he has not allowed the Mets to score. He's retired 7 straight since that walk to Cespedes that loaded them up back in the 3rd.
I thought that David Wright at bat to end the 5th is just vintage Gio Gonzalez. Throws one to the screen and then paints a curveball on him down and in.
Big curveball way outside, 1-1.
And just what you're seeing right there. First pitch to Murphy, paint, then he bounces a curveball to the backstop. Not a comfortable at bat. Never has been, never will be.
Uh-oh. Curveball, it stayed way inside, had so much break, it missed Daniel Murphy. 2-1. Had him reaching. Pop up left side, Escobar. Over into foul ground. First out, bottom 6.
I mean, first pitch fastball in the black. Bounces a curveball to the screen. Almost hits him with the curveball. And then paints a fastball to get the out. When you're a major league hitter, you're used to seeing a ball in a small little area because major league pitchers have such good command. And when you face a guy like Gio Gonzalez, when you really don't know where it's going half the time, how do you sit on something? How do you look in a zone? And that's what major league hitters do, Carp. I'm looking middle away today.
Yeah.
That's where he throws it. I'm taking everything to right. I'm hitting it hard. What zone do you sit on if you're Gio Gonzalez? You don't. You can't.
Twilight zone.
Yeah.
One started him with a changeup, got a strike. That curveball way out there.
Might be getting a little tired not finishing on that curve.
So both strikes here with the off speed. Gio trying to win his most games since the 21-12. Following year he went 11-8. Last year 10-10. This year trying to finish 12-8. Trying to keep it scoreless. 2-2 pitch. And pulled hard into left field by Cespedes, who breaks up an 0 for 9 with that base hit.
Really went down and got the changeup right here. We said that Cespedes is a good low ball hitter, maybe one of the better low ball hitters in baseball. And he really goes down and digs out that changeup from Gio Gonzalez for a base hit here in the 6th. And if you have a base hit today, it's news. There's only been 4 in the game. That's the 3rd one for the Mets, and the Nats only have 1.
Yeah, the Mets 2 singles, a double. Dendecker a double. Here's Kadire. A taken strike 3 and a ground ball. Pretty good rip. Counts even 1-1. Hear the wind really whipping through our microphones. Two 2-1 pitch.
Gives you a good idea. Wow. Not hearing any airplanes today. They're taking off the other way.
Have to be.
They grounded.
2-2, runner going. Strike 3 call. And strike him out, throw him out. Double play. Lobato nails his 7th runner of the year. Cespedes gone on the strikeout by Kadire.
I think Terry Collins might want to take a look at that one and see if there was actual contact made on the tag. Nope, he says there wasn't. Here we go.
This ball game to the top of the 7th inning. Robinson, Desmond, and Dendecker. Gio, a very good outing under tough conditions.
That wasn't a strike.
City Field, top of the 7th. Clint Robinson leads off.
Might be cold. Might be contemplating a run.
Look at those eyes. He's looking at the field, seeing where everybody's playing. Where Clint can put one to get a base hit. And he can't catch up with 94. Counts even 1-1. Syndergaard's season high for strikeouts, 13 back in July against Arizona. On the verge of double digits for the 5th time this year. In fact, he's coming off an outing in a 12-5 win at Cincinnati when he struck out 11 Reds. Blake Trinan back in the shadows. Gio's thrown 107 pitches.
I think he just had Sovey Lobaton was that last pitch of strike, and Lobaton shook his head no.
Robinson launches one. See you later. Well up into the upper deck. And for Clint Robinson, a double-digit home run season with his 34th RBI. Big fly in New York.
Big fly in New York. That was at the top of the upper deck. Have you seen one go that far here?
On a day like this.
And Gio Gonzalez all of a sudden staring at a W. Wow is right, Bryce.
They threw the ball back, and it took a long throw to get it to the field from about the 5th row from the top of the upper deck here.
Yeah. Talked to Clint before the game today. He said it's cold out there. He said get the head out. He just did. Wow. In a big way. Double-digit big flies. That's no small feat for a guy that's worked this hard to get to the big leagues. 10th home run.
Oh, 2 to Ian Desmond.
And who knows where that would have ended up if there wasn't wind blowing in. That was against traffic.
Desmond strikes out for the 3rd time, and strikeout number 10 for Syndergaard after home run number 10 by Robinson.
Let's watch the pitch. Slider down in right in the turbo zone, and look where this one lands, folks. Top of the upper deck. Higher. Yep.
There they are.
Gio talking to the baseball, telling him to get up.
It did.
It did.
It stayed up. 102 on a really cold day. Breaking ball away to Matt Dendecker. He's doubled in 2 trips.
Grown man hit that ball. That was a far tater. I'm still looking where he hit it. I think LaRoche hit one over the foul pole here a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken, down the right field line. Has anybody hit one on the concourse here ever?
Dendecker hits one pretty well out to left center. That chases Lagares out to the edge of the track. 2 outs, and the Nats getting a couple of hacks here in the 7th. Lobaton next. Now we arrive at the 3 o'clock hour here. Ball game underway at 1:12, 53 degrees at that time. It has not warmed up at all. BCFP DK, and a guy with initials CR has gone a long way. Hansel Robles is appealing his suspension.
I have a question for you, and it might be a silly one that would not be surprising.
Reed Johnson, by the way.
If you get suspended and you appeal it, does it go into the postseason, or does that carry over to the next year? You're appealing it right now, so,
yeah.
So probably for next year.
I would assume regular season games.
Yeah. Otherwise, with expanded rosters and the playoffs approaching, it's silly to deal with.
Yeah.
He of the quick pitch, Robles.
Yep. 0-2 to Lobaton. Jose 0 for 2 today, but doing a masterful job of again handling Gio. He got him out of a bases loaded jam in the third when Gio walked 3 guys and then guided him through 3 more innings against only 9 hitters. And a bouncer past the pitcher out to Murphy. He goes backhand and flips it over for the tag by Lucas Duda. We've had a big fly in New York City. Clint Robinson, total launch. About 3/4 of the way up the deck in right field. Nats lead 1-0. One swing of the bat can sure brighten your view of how a day's going, can't it? Clint Robinson, 10th home run of the year. The Nats on top by a run. Bottom 7 coming up. Rest of the game is up to the bullpen, starting with Blake Trinan.
And then who, if it stays like this?
That's a great question. For Blake, his 59th appearance.
All righties 183, lefties 333. Blake Trinan on to try to preserve a win for the ball club and Gio Gonzalez.
Noah Syndergaard, by the way, is at 101 pitches through 7. And if the inning goes 4 batters, he could be out of the game. Lucas Duda against Blake Trinan.
I think he's out of the game regardless.
Duda 2 for 5 career against the right-hander. Yeah, the Mets bullpen still quite busy. And the Mets are in their let's protect our young arms mode. And 101 pitches, plenty on a day like this.
Yep.
Right-hander Eric Goodell.
It's a good one to build on for Syndergaard heading into the postseason.
Yeah. Yeah, but how about that arm for a Game 3 starter?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Blake's got to come in and throw strikes. It's an issue at times, and he's gone 3-0.
Might be a green light situation for Duda, especially the way that ball carried off Robinson's bat.
Walked him on 4.
Well, you work all day to score a run. That can't happen. A 4-pitch walk after you finally put up a run.
Next up, Travis d'Arnaud, who is 0 for 1 career against Trinan.
first place teams usually make leadoff walks hurt. Trying and looking for that ground ball, and we'll see if d'Arnaud's bunting. I don't think so.
d'Arnaud a double and a strikeout. Strike one from Blake. Thing about Treinen, he can walk somebody and be one pitch away from 2 outs. Pounding that hard, sinking fastball in on the right-hander. Got him. 96 running right back over the outer half. 1 out. Mercedes-Benz will track it.
So a 4-pitch walk to a 3-pitch see ya. I showed you the averages, right? He's hitting 183 off Treinen. Obviously much more comfortable facing right-handers.
If the inning continues, Curtis Granderson will hit for Syndergaard. He was in the lineup posted yesterday by Terry Collins, even though Gio was the scheduled starter yesterday as well.
That's great. He's giving all kinds of fans nugs. You see that? The kid's running down? It's just great.
Yeah. Granderson's a very social ball player.
No, that's
shall we say.
That's what baseball's all about, man. A guy getting ready to go up and hit a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, and the kid's running down to get nugs from Curtis Granderson. Watch this. He's putting his batting gloves on. Give me some. Good luck. Good luck, buddy. Go get him. That just made that kid's world.
Cool. Low and away, 1-1 to Tejada, who is 1 for 4 career against Blake Treinen.
Nasty. You go to swing, it's in the strike zone, and it's 96 miles an hour, and the bottom drops out like a split.
One, two now. Stays with that pitch, and top spin shot foul.
You see what he's doing today, though? His 95-96 is better than his 97-98. And what do I mean by that? His 97-98 sometimes planes out a little bit, flattens out. It's a little bit easier to hit because there isn't so much movement. And by sitting at 94-96, he gets that ultra sink. And for a right-hander, it's just a tough go. Some pitchers are better with less velocity than more.
And he threw him a breaking ball that'll drop out into right center. Looked like a slider that was sitting up. First and second, 1 out.
Well, first of all, Blake Treinen didn't want that slider where it was. He was trying to bounce that down away. And it just stayed up, and it really gave Tejada a chance because he was fighting off those sinkers and really didn't have a chance against that pitch. And Matt Williams coming out, and he is bringing the lefty.
Matt Grace has been a busy rookie lately. He'll get even busier here. We'll see if Terry Collins makes a counter move. 1-0 Nats. Telecast is presented by authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the expressed written consent of the Washington Nationals. Blake Treinen gets one out, gives up a walk and a hit. Curtis Granderson will bat against Matt Grace. The only Met that's faced Grace this year is Lucas Duda.
Probably going to see a few sinkers. Jose Lobaton going to jog out and make sure they're on the same page with the signs. And Granderson hitting just 184 this year against lefties, 23 for 125. That's why Matt Williams made that move.
'89, boring in on the left-hander. Goes to the other side and misses.
You would think that Granderson is going to see a lot of lefties in the postseason based on the numbers you're looking at. Any chance the Dodgers get to bring one in from the bullpen?
'91 up in the zone a bit, and the count's 1-2.
Top of the zone. Boy, Phil Cuzzy's got a huge zone. He's called balls below the zone, above the zone, outside the zone. Maybe a big factor on why this is a 1-0 game with just 6 hits.
Yeah.
Pitchers.
I mean, look at that jersey blowing on Granderson. It is tough down there. Tough enough when the zone's not big, huh?
You're right. Tough day to hit. Pretty good pitchers on both sides. In a big strike zone equals a 1-0 game in just 6 hits.
And a 1-2 pitch with 1 out.
And maybe if you don't have to work the second game, you're really excited about a quick first game if you're Phil Cuzzy.
Home plate umpires do get the second game of doubleheaders off. Right side, Robinson cuts it off. He's got one play. And then Ian Desmond turned toward third just to see if Duda might round the bag. A 3-6 by Clint Robinson, 2 outs.
Matt Williams going to come out and get the lefty, or let Matt Thornton face Lagares, who's hitting 273 off lefties this year, 32 for 117.
Just like what he sees from Matt. Rafael Martin. Juan Lagares 0 for 3 today against Gio.
And 254 against righties, so maybe Matt Williams not seeing a whole lot of difference in 20 points in the average and letting Thornton go. Or Grace, excuse me. I think I'd have him right by now.
Tie game. And turning and heading for third is Granderson. Juan Lagares' 41st RBI ties it up. David Wright will not be facing Matt Grace. One ball game. Took a long time to score for the Nats, and now the Mets have equalized. recap of this day-night doubleheader. Max Scherzer looking for number 14. Brilliant against Cincinnati. 1 run, 2 hits, 10 strikeouts, 8 innings earlier this week. Matt Harvey tough on the Nats. He's 5-0 in his last 10 starts, although Washington hit him hard in D.C., but he got off the hook when they came back against the Nats bullpen. We'll get you going at 6:30 tonight with Nats Extra on MASN 2. First pitch, 7:10. Here's David Wright against Rafael Martin, 0 for 1 career against him.
Let's see if Martin decides to throw that sneaky fastball, 88-91, past David Wright. We've seen so many hitters late on it because of the quick arm action and the short arm stroke.
Runners at the corners, 2 outs. First pitch, breaking ball in there. There's that heater. Perfect on the outside edge. Granderson reached on the fielder's choice, went to third on the base hit by Juan Lagares. David Wright pops it up, out of play. One ball game, bottom of the 7th.
David Wright probably thinking to himself right now, okay, I just saw 89 on the scoreboard, but I got to gear up. That got on me a little bit. Veteran hitters tend to make adjustments late in counts.
Oh, 2 again. David Wright waving at the breaking ball upstairs. Mets get a walk, 2 hits, and tie the game. Nationals have their pitcher spot due up in the top of the 8th. Rafael Martin comes on to strike out David Wright. 7th inning over. And the Nats will send Reed Johnson up against Addison Reed.
Lots of Reeds on the field right now. Fastball, slider, change. You don't really throw the change a whole lot. The fastball average is 93, slider 86 miles an hour. And Reed versus Reed. Here we go.
Reed Johnson will face the right-hander for the first time. Getting some meaningful at-bats down the stretch to culminate an injury-filled season for this veteran. .38 years of age.
Solid.
13th year in the big leagues.
Solid career numbers.
Yeah. Reed gets jammed. Darno back to have a look.
The catcher's coming back to the screen a lot more frequent today, thinking that ball might blow back because of the wind. Not giving up on anything.
Two and one. Johnson had a good hack on a fastball to the outside edge. Reed has made a good part of his living, not in this case, but during his career, of hitting a left-handers. .310 career against lefties coming into this season. Blue Jays, Cubs, Dodgers, Cubs again, Braves, Marlins, and now the Nats. 2-2.
That ball just took off. Did you see that pitch? A little cut fastball. Watch this thing just hang a left at the end. 91. Look at that. Maybe there was some slippage on that pitch where you just let go of it weird. I've never seen a ball take off like that.
Johnson fights one off, pops it up, and Daniel Murphy is there for the first out.
All right, you hit a tater, you get free season tickets. You know the drill. Purchase or renew your 2016 Nats Plus membership by Monday. I believe Monday's October 5th, right, Carl?
You're correct.
All right, hit a home run, you win season tickets for next year. So good luck with that. But at the very least, you get to stand at Major League Park and take some hacks, so that's pretty cool. Some restrictions apply. Like it'll be snowing on the day that you do it.
Yeah, I was wondering about the date on that. We'll find out soon. Slider low and away.
December 8th, wind chill -20. It's snowing.
Maybe that could be the Winter Classic this year. Very cool. Same pitch, same call. 0-2. Rendon 0 for 4 career against Addison Reed.
If I'm not mistaken, I think the Nats beat Reed in Arizona.
When he goes upstairs, I think you are right. Mets picked him up, and Tyler Clippard, of course, to bolster that bullpen from the right side.
Might have been the Michael Taylor Grand Slam, if I'm thinking right, but that was a long time ago, and who knows? You getting the scorebook out?
We were there in May. I remember that.
I don't care if I'm wrong. I'm wrong every day, so it's nothing.
Yep, he blew the save that day. Michael A. Taylor in the game because Bryce Harper had been ejected. Remember that?
So it was off him?
It was against Addison Reed in the 9th inning on Wednesday, May 13th.
Steel trap, baby.
Nats win 9-6. That was, a couple of weeks after that comeback in Atlanta. When the Nats won that game in Arizona, they had won 12 of their previous 15 games. So they were rolling back then. Here's the 2-2 again. Rendon. No swing, but the crowd's booing because that pitch was where the first two were. This one a fastball.
Watch the check swing artist, Anthony Rendon. I don't know how he does it. That one is as far as you'll ever see him go, too. His bionic wrists.
Yeah, they were booing before the appeal. Then he goes ahead and walks him. Nats get a base runner with one out, 8th inning. Escobar and Harper now the next two. And Yunel Escobar is 3 for 4 career against Addison Reed. Anybody but Syndergaard right now for a lot of these hitters. They're okay with that. He went 7, a run on just 2 hits, so walked 10 strikeouts. 101 pitches, 70 strikes. Breaking ball in there. A big orange balloon making its way onto the field of play from the right field side.
Somebody's got to get it. It's heading for the gap in left center. Come on, Carp, you got to call the play.
I think one of the pups ought to jump out and grab that thing.
Odds of hitting the balloon with a line drive.
Infinitesimal.
That's in the gap in left center, blowing towards center now.
Could be a ground rule balloon shortly. Somebody spent some time blowing that baby up. 1-2 with one out, a runner aboard, 8th inning of a tie game.
Might have passed out even.
So evidently, if you hit a ground ball, the wind's blowing out.
Yeah. Look for that ball in the dirt right now if you're Anthony Rendon.
Right side double play ball. Murphy knocks it down. Tejada throws wide. Escobar will remain at first with Bryce Harper coming up. So the bobble by Murphy costing the Mets what appeared to be a sure double play ball.
Yeah, just sloppy all the way around. A tailor-made double play for Daniel Murphy. And after he boots it, he gives Ruben Tejada a tough feed, and then Tejada throws it away. So the rhythm of the double play broken up right there. Tejada tries to rush, and that allowed Rendon to get on him. And watch Yunel Escobar, after he gets past the base, find the baseball. What a great play by Escobar. How many times have you seen a guy jab step and go to second? If he would have, Travis d'Arnaud was right there. He'd have been out. But he looked over his shoulder and stayed at first and gave Bryce Harper a chance with 2 outs.
Right, 0 for 2, hit by a pitch today. 0 for 1 against Addison Reed. A little bit away.
Third different bat Bryce has used today. Broke one on a ground ball to second. Had a different color bat last time, and now this one.
Harper to right field. See you later. RBI total goes to 99 on his 42nd of the year. The louder they boo, the better he gets on the road.
Well, that bat worked. Bryce got a big-time limp going after getting drilled in the knee. Goes deep to give his ball club the 3-1 lead. There's a story behind that bat. I don't know whose it was, but it sure worked.
3-1 Nats. Worth coming up, and Bryce Harper is on the doorstep of 100 RBIs. That's his 80th extra base hit of the year. And the Nats again hurt Addison Reed with a late game home run. Swinging a foul tip and a strikeout. A one-out walk costing the Mets dearly as Rendon gets a pass, and Bryce went out and got a breaking ball and sent it out of here. 42 and 99, the power numbers.
Second home run and get his 99th RBI. First of all, the double play not turned by the Mets. Yunel Escobar looking over his shoulder to see the ball and where it was, staying at first base. Up comes Bryce Harper, and then Terry Collins decides to leave a right-hander, Addison Reed, in there to face Bryce Harper, which we haven't seen a whole lot of this year. And maybe because Noah Syndergaard had some success with Harper, that Terry Collins thinking he's having an off day, but Bryce Harper with a roll of the wrist and one swing gives his team a 3-1 lead. So tons of stuff going on right there to allow Bryce Harper to get a chance. And who knows whose bat he used, but there's a story in there too.
Home run hitters hugging there. 3-1 Nats. Robinson earlier, Harper later. And we go bottom eighth with Casey Jansen. Daniel Murphy is the leadoff guy, and somehow he and Jansen have not faced each other. At the knees, inside edge. Cutter almost hit him.
One thing we've seen with Bryce, when he gets on one of those rolls, it happens quick. You remember the series when he hit 37, 38, 39, and 40. You mentioned in Philadelphia that he had a chance to hit 40 before we left. I would be surprised if he gets 100 in game 2. Depends how that knee comes out, though, with that long wait between games.
Good for him. This is another Nats reliever who doesn't need to walk the leadoff guy after Washington gets the lead. Casey Janssen throws the strike and gets the fly ball. Wind going crazy, so's the baseball, and Worth races to get it. Nothing easy out there today. Winterfest is coming your way December 12 and 13 at the Convention Center. All the Nats will be there. Test your skills and baseball experiences. Santa will tell you how he will make your dreams come true. Buy your ticket today at special early bird prices, 202-675-NATS or nationals.com/Nats Winterfest.
Santa will tell you if you're getting coal in your stocking or not. He will. He's not afraid. He's honest.
I just had this image of him chasing you around the convention center. Come back here, young man. I got some things to tell you.
I've been on the naughty list for a while.
Swing and a miss. Foul tip. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jonathan Neese and Jeurys Familia. I think we know the scenario there. Unless the Mets tie or take the lead, Familia will not be pitching.
Good curve. Some late break. It looks like Cespedes gave up on it. Got to elevate on him with 2 strikes.
Cespedes 1 for 3 career against Jansen with an RBI. Defensive swing. Just leveling off at the last instant. Fastball. He's late for that. Front door breaking ball. What a hook that was. 2 outs on the big curveball by Casey Janssen.
Mighty swing by Cespedes right here, but just couldn't stay on it long enough. You see the front shoulder fly open, the head come out. Even though he kept his hands back, just pulled off of this curveball big time. Look at where his eyes were looking as the ball was in the zone.
Michael Kadire 0 for 3. He hits one high in the air to left center. Not that deep. Rice has it. It took 3 Nats pitchers to get through the 7th. It takes Casey Janssen to get 3 hitters in the 8th. MASN, brought to you by visitannapolis.org. Find the Chesapeake experience at visitannapolis.org. And by 9 Point Systems. They offer the technology you need when you need it. Cheeseburgers on the grill on a cold afternoon. Clint Robinson has already hit a home run today. He'll lead off in the top of the ninth. He'll be facing a lefty, though, Jonathan Neese. Clint Robinson is one of the few Nats who's never had an at-bat against this left-hander, who's been a starter and a reliever for the Mets. 32nd appearance. Clint Robinson 1 for 3 with a long high home run back in the 7th that gave the Nats the lead.
Lots of cutters from Neese.
And this is going down to the left field line, and Clint Robinson has another base hit. He's going to round the bag and go for 2. He is out. Murphy just laid the glove down in front of the bag.
Well, Cespedes is one of the better arms in Major League Baseball. Even though he's surprised, still comes up and throws a strike. One-hop seed. Good tag by Daniel Murphy to the blind side. And up by 2, hey, you don't mind the hustle if you're Matt Williams by Clint Robinson. He was trying to catch Cespedes sleeping right there. Good swing. He got a lot of high fives when he went back to the dugout. Teammates appreciating the effort, but just a nice throw by Cespedes to nail him.
Ian Desmond against Jonathan Neese is 8 for 29. Little tapper by the mound. Neese will cut it off and go himself. If you're wondering who the Nats closer is today,
I like
the answer is Felipe.
I like it.
Got his first career save in Atlanta, and he's ready for the 9th.
When I said he was going to be a Major League closer someday, I had no idea it would be this year. And he had a 2-inning, 6-out save against the Braves. And you just don't see that very often.
There's your pitching matchup for tonight.
Pretty good. Scherzer, Harvey.
Maybe it's a trivial thing to some, but the Nats, if they hold on here, clinch a winning season. Three outs to get. Dendecker and Lobaton. If the inning continues to Jose, and Dendecker levels off and takes a good swing.
I don't know about you, but I count 2011 as a 500 season still.
When it was 80 and 81 for the rainout?
It's a 500 season.
Oh, okay.
It's a rainout. How do you know they wouldn't have won? So I'm just assuming they would have won, and that's a 500 season in my mind. I'll never change my opinion on that.
Well, it's 4 years later. I'm good with that.
Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
You know, I mean, if you felt that strongly about it for 4 years, I'm right there with you.
Yep.
You know me. I'm with you, win or tie, even one game under.
I don't let things go easily.
3-2, and Dendecker's aboard for the second time.
Matt Dendecker's the sneaky player of this game with his glove, the play he made in right center field on Daniel Murphy. That was a couple of runs, maybe.
Yeah. Jose Lobaton doesn't get many right-handed at-bats. He's 2 for 17 all year, but he has an RBI from the right side.
Don't forget, Syndergaard was on second, Wright was on first when he made that play in the gap. That was 2 runs.
Yeah. Tyler Moore, if the inning goes further. Mets have 6, 7, and 8 due up in the ninth. And the first guy is the left-handed batter, Lucas Duda, for Rivero. That's right on the edge. 1 ball, 2 strikes here in the ninth. They've got Dendecker picked off. One, 3, 6, and to the bottom of the ninth with Rivero now trying to nail down a save. Clint Robinson, 10th homer, upper deck, 7th inning. Bryce Harper, upper deck, 8th inning after a 1-out walk, and the Mets failed to turn a double play ball. And then Gio, he'll get a no decision today because the Mets came back to tie the game after he left with the lead. But his ERA's been great.
Harper's home run the difference in this ball game right now, and he knew as soon as he got it. Number 42, RBI number 99, 98 and 99. Hobbles back to the dugout. Anthony Rendon with the sunflower shower. I think even just as important, he checked in with a hit today to keep his average at 331 or raise, keep it right where it's at. So the home run title, the batting title, all on the balance here as Felipe Rivero comes on for the save.
Lucas Duda, 1 for 3 career against him. .95, foul tipped. Counts even, 1-1.
Got closer stuff. There's no doubt about it. Been seeing it for a couple of months now in the maturation process, but standing out there for the last 3 outs, he checked that box against the Braves. And trying to do it here for the 2nd time in his career.
Two-one pitch, right in there. That is at the knees, and that is out number 1. Duda frozen.
95, bottom of the zone. Good frame by Lobaton to make it clearly a strike, but Felipe Rivero coming into this ball game slinging strikes. You got a lefty that touches 100 on occasion. What a luxury.
Travis d'Arnaud, 1 for 3 with a double. 0 for 1 career against Rivero. He goes up hacking. Foul tip.
He's been mixing in that changeup too.
Byron Kerr and Ray Knight. Nats Extra Post Game presented by W.B. Mason when this one's over. Swing and a miss, 2 outs, 97.
It has to be in the plans in the late innings for the 2016 campaign, doesn't he?
Has to be.
What inning that is remains to be seen.
There's Ruben Tejada, who's 0 for 3 against Rivero. And now he is pumping strikes. Challenge fastballs. 2-run lead, 1 out to go.
Just comes right after you. No messing around.
Boy, the wind is really whipping through the ballpark here. Tough day out there. The guys have performed very well. 0-2 pitch. Bang. He changes up on him on the last pitch of the game and strikes out the side. Impressive by Felipe Rivero. And the Nats win it in 2 hours and 44 minutes. To win their 82nd game of the year, guarantee a winning season, and then hours from now we'll enjoy Max Scherzer against Matt Harvey. Nats win it 3-1 for FP and Dan. Bob Carpenter, hope you enjoyed it. 6:30 with Nats Extra pregame for the nightcap portion of the doubleheader. This has been a presentation of Masson. Byron and Ray straight ahead, the second of their 4 shows today from New York. See you later.